Did you know that NASCAR's next-gen car, the one they called revolutionary and cutting edge, was actually inspired by cars from Australia? Today, I'm breaking down the connection between NASCAR's next-gen and Australian supercars and why it explains so much about Shane van Gisbergen's instant success. Let's dive in. Here's something most NASCAR fans don't know. No, not that, although that is also good to know in case you didn't. But y'all know I got the tea for you. So look, NASCAR's Chief Operating Officer Steve O'Donnell openly admitted that one of the genesis points for the next-gen car was the Australian V8 series. NASCAR executives traveled to Australia, spent time with Supercars teams, and studied their technology closely. This wasn't a secret. They've talked about it publicly. So what exactly did NASCAR take inspiration from? Let's look at the technology. Independent rear suspension. Supercars had it since 2013. NASCAR adopted it in 2022. Sequential gearbox. Supercars had it since 2013. NASCAR got it in 2022. And those 18-inch wheels? Standard in Supercars for years. Brand new to NASCAR with the next gen. Kurt Busch tested the next-gen car early on and said the closest comparison was a V8 Australian supercar. He specifically mentioned that all the lap time gained came from that independent rear suspension in the infield sections. The influence was real and measurable. But don't just take my word for it. Drivers who've raced both series noticed the similarities immediately. Cam Waters, who's driven both cars, said the cars feel fairly similar. He pointed out the gearboxes are similar, the brakes are similar, and you have to be up on the wheel, really working it to get lap time out of both cars. Let me give you the actual numbers to show how similar these cars really are. Both use V8 engines. Supercars produce 620 to 650 horsepower, while NASCAR makes 670. Both use sequential transmissions, and both weigh around 3,000 to 3,200 pounds. These aren't distant relatives. These are very similar machines with different body styles. Now here's where it gets really interesting. When Shane van Gisbergen, a three-time Supercars champion, showed up for his NASCAR debut, he became the first driver to win in his first Cup Series race in 60 years. Then he went on to dominate road courses, winning 5 straight races and sometimes by margins of 15 seconds or more. Suddenly, his success makes a lot more sense. NASCAR built a car heavily influenced by what this man had been racing for 15 years. After his Chicago win, Van Gisbergen said any of the top 10 drivers in Supercars would be good enough to come and do what he just did. At the time, some people thought that was cocky, but knowing the car similarities, he was just being honest. This connection also explains why other Supercars drivers like Cam Waters and Will Brown have looked competitive in their NASCAR appearances. They're not just talented drivers adapting to a new series. They're driving cars with fundamentally similar technology to what they've spent years mastering. The next gen was a huge investment for NASCAR, and it has changed the sport in a lot of ways. But understanding where the inspiration came from helps explain why certain drivers adapt so quickly. NASCAR saw what worked in Australian motorsport and brought those innovations to stock car racing. So the next time someone asks why Shane van Gisbergen was so good so fast, you can tell them, NASCAR and supercars are closer than most people realize. The next gen wasn't built in a vacuum. It was influenced by a successful racing series on the other side of the world. And when champions from that series show up, they're not starting from zero. Thanks for watching. I'm your girl, Tamika D, and this is Diva in the Driver's Seat.
Shane van Gisbergen. The rumor is you could go S.V.G. All right?
No.
Started deep in the pack, 15th on the grid, chasing every apex, pedal down, no skid, pit crew on the line, hands clap in sync.